by imitating those formulas, but doing so, first of all, with some humor, because that's why it's not called Harlequin romance, but it's called hot sauce. So, I mean, how can a series be called hot sauce without taking it as a joke in some way? And here is two guys, both of them named Scott, and they have, with their joint name, Scott and Scott, and they've published 3 romance novels already, and they're with titles such as Nick of Time, now you get it,
Yeah.
or Razor Burn, which have only sold, at least at the time of this publication, which was 10 years ago, 2,500 copies. So they weren't making multi-million-dollar business on this yet. So here is a quote of the description of the other. Let's compare this to the descriptions I just read you of the woman describing the sheik. Troy, and look for everything, adjectives, names, pronouns, whatever you can find, okay? So think about it. Troy let the towel on his waist drop. The morning light falling into the room put his abs and pecs and nipples into perfect relief. Brad gasped as if it was the first time he had seen what was hidden beneath. Troy was a magnificent specimen of manhood. At 33, 3 years older than Brad, he had the firm, hard stomach of a high school athlete. His muscles were naturally lean and ropey. He was strong, but he had none of the false bulk of a steroid queen. Okay, comments?
Still portraying him in a really powerful masculine way, but like bulk without being too bulky, which is like considered.
Okay, so he's still, even though he's the object, because he's looked at, there's nothing effeminate about him, let's say. But how about that bulky? He's not too, but why does he say not too bulky? There's a reason he says that there's more to it than just praising him, that he's not too bulky. What does he say? What did he just say at the end?
Not like this. He doesn't use drugs, so steroids.
A steroid queen. Steroid queen.
Oh.
So what is he saying? He's beautiful gay man, but he's not at all like a queen. It's not dissimilar to those to that ad about the guy who said, "I want another guy who is I'm interested in another guy, but no gays." What else?
I thought it was kind of weird that he was comparing his body to a high school student.
Yes, that's also. So he's 33 and he's actually older than the person looking, but he has the body of a high school student, yes. And while, say, a man looking at a woman would be saying her breasts, probably, what is his emphasis on as far as the body? Muscles, except for one thing. His penis is not mentioned, interestingly, yes. But what is mentioned? What sexual part?
He said nipples.
But that's not a sexual part per se. Nipples, yes. Nipples. I won't get into that. I've written about that. Male nipples, yes. And so what happens here, it says they've chosen to follow in this series the very particular conventions of romance writing as set forth by the Romance Writers of America. The organization Public Relations Manager says that the form has 2 basic elements. Besides what we've talked about, the gays and all that, there has to be, in the original heterosexual one, there has to be one man and one woman, and no matter the ensuing complications, that an emotionally satisfying and optimistic ending has to happen, which means either they get married or they're going in that direction. And and since we're going to run out of time, I'm just going to mention Uhas's article mentioned here, 98, lesbian romance fiction, and how do lesbian romances function, because lesbian theorists have said that romance novels go on this power thing, so that it's inequality, so how do you do that with lesbian romances? Thomas has also an interesting, I didn't write that there, the strong silent type, lesbian romances and lesbian mysteries between, for example, the female Secret Service agent and the president's daughter. And because we don't have time for anything more, I can read you some dirty words. Because this really illustrates it now on the word level. Pate Chavez and Humans have an article called Social Construction of Sexual Realities in Erotic Text, and they talk about how women's texts talk about shopping and everything else in these big romance novels where the male pornography is very short, but they also read, they give you passages which, okay, you're leaving, I'm not going to read to you, but maybe I'll read to you the beginning to remind you of this next time. I wanted to contrast a passage of a sex act in the female romance novel and in a male pornography, but we can just, to end, because we have a half a minute, look at the different words used, lexical variety for vagina and penis in women's texts. The silken flesh, the sweet heat, the soft silken sheath, her warm sheath, the satiny clasp, her love cave, her femaleness, nether lips, whereas the same terms in the male pornography, pussy, cunt, crotch, box, cunny, cootie, cunt, cleft of nether lip, dripping pit, foxhole, sweet honey pot, love box, creamy love hole, teeny knob, etc. And I just read the female ones, they have their male equivalent. Isn't that a nice way to end? Okay. See you on Wednesday. Tonight, ladies, tomorrow morning I'll write you about the next unit, which is also a good topic for anybody who is bilingual or multilingual. It's about language and gender and diglossia, bilingualism, immigrant language, etc., etc. Very exciting.
I'm just.